I'll call to order this meeting of the Criminal Justice Response Committee on January 25th, 2022. And Elizabeth, maybe if you could just go ahead and fill us in on what's going on with the applications and.
Sure. I can't remember when I originally posted it on the website, but Angie reached out to me, I think a week or a week and a half ago, and I hadn't received any resumes or anything at that point. And so I put it on LinkedIn and Indeed. And now I am working my way through about 200 resumes. And I think I've mostly gotten through them in the past few days, but in just a week's time, I've gotten that many. I have only, I can turn my video on too. I've not gotten very many local, I think just one local interest. So I don't know. And I did put the job as remote possibility. So that did increase the amount of people that responded, I think, from other locations. But that is, and I'm happy to share. I think I've narrowed down as I'm going through this. I've been saving some of them, and I think I have about 30 that I can go back through again and pick out. Happy to send you as many as you want to take a look at and review. But that's where I'm at this point.
30 is a lot.
It is, and that was just me I was starting to go through the process, and anything that I thought looked relevant, I was saving. And so I can certainly go back through there. I think that there are a few of them that sound really good.
Good.
But also just want to make sure you know that nobody that is local. There's one person that's in Bloomington, but.
And did that person seem like a possibility?
Yeah, it's possible. They're a student, I believe. That was another thing I wanted to mention. There are a lot of students or folks that have just graduated, and actually a lot of professors, adjunct professors. I got a lot of those. So I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah. It seems to me that this would be kind of a difficult undertaking long distance. I think we kind of need someone who lives here probably.
Yeah, and I wasn't sure about what work could be done remotely, or I know that, most of the communication we're doing is remote, but I would imagine you want somebody that could be in the facility and things as well. I don't know what your plans are, so.
Well, in particular, I think we need someone who can kind of easily meet with community members and all of that, which, probably can be Zoom for most people now, but.
I wonder if we could stretch it even to the state, as a possibility as well, instead of just the county.
Yeah.
Just an idea.
I don't have any particular problem with someone being virtual or being long distance. I think we have the tools that can make that happen.
I think we do within the county, and that wouldn't be any problem at all for us. I'm just wondering when it comes to the outreach aspects of it, if it might be more difficult, but it might not. Especially, I guess if it's someone who's really comfortable with Zoom and.
It may be that, and I see your point, Lee, it may be that somebody would have to fund their own travel if there was a meeting of some sort that, involved community members that you really zoom in on, that is part of the job and would be something they would have to cover. If we set out an expectation at the beginning, I think it's fair to do that. If we think it's going to be 2 meetings or maybe 1 or whatever, where we're going to expect them to be, in Monroe County for a day or 2. So Yeah, and Angie's right. Yeah, we'd address that in the
Yeah.
final contract and negotiate that. So I think I can see what you're saying though, Lee, that there are some times when you really need to be in person because you're not in an environment where Zoom is going to necessarily work. So
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it would be helpful if this person could see our current facilities and
Well, yeah.
yeah, get an idea of what we're talking about. But I agree. I think that we can certainly overcome any distance with some sort of travel arrangement in the contract.
Yeah.
Interesting that students applied.
Very.
Yeah.
A lot of students with criminal justice
Mhm.
or looking for criminal justice experience.
Well, I can imagine a student might have a lot of enthusiasm,
Mhm.
probably not so much experience.
Mhm. What are we talking about, undergrads or grad students?
I think it's a mix of both.
Is there any way you could kind of create categories for those 30 that look good? Like whether or not they have a criminal justice background, ones who have experience, or is that asking too much of you? I
Don't
wanna
think it's
do that.
asking too much, but I can, at some point I need to send them all to you. So how you break them up in the way that you look at that, I can try and, put them into categories, but I'm assuming it's just going to be me scanning them or saving them as a file and sending them to you. So, if you want a separate email with ones that are criminal justice related or a separate email or however you want me to do that, I'm just not sure how to get them to you and have them separated.
Yeah.
I think we could do, because there's going to be some overlap, like a Venn diagram, right? So I'm thinking we could just have you send them on Dropbox or something. I'm sure you could work with Angie on that and get them out. And then we could, I think what Lee has in mind is more like an Excel spreadsheet of just ticking boxes of what they fit. And so I guess the question is, you're thinking, location, experience, criminal justice background, whatever those questions are. And we can actually go through them ourselves if that helps and do that part of it. That's not going to take very long with the 30. So that's something I can take on.
And I'm happy to create that spreadsheet if it helps you to sort of work through it to start. It's not a big deal.
Yeah,
Great.
I think it at least gives us an easy comparison.
Yeah.
Basically.
So undergrad, grad,
Experience.
experience. You had good questions, but what else were they?
Criminal justice background.
Right.
Facilitation experience.
Yeah. Project slash.
Yeah, that was something I was really trying to look for.
Yeah. Anyone else think of anything else that we might be interested in?
Well, maybe the highest degree obtained would be a better way to look at the education, undergrad, grad, whatever, that kind of thing. And but no, I think that those are important. I like the facilitation one too. I think that's really a good skill set.
So are they ready to be sent now, or do you have more work to do with them?
I mean, not this second, no.
Well, no.
But I probably have 30 more to go through. I can send those to you as soon as I'm done going through them.
Okay.
And creating the spreadsheet.
Yeah, that'd be great. Okay. Anyone have anything else for Elizabeth?
Thank
Thank
you for
you.
your hard
Yeah, thank you very
Yeah,
much. It's
no problem.
very exciting to see that something maybe is actually happening here. Then I think our only other real business is a meeting time, because this is the last day that Julie can meet at this time until May.
Yeah.
And she basically, for Julie, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday is better, but Kate, you said that Tuesday, Thursday is better for you. Julie thinks that maybe later in the day on Tuesday or Thursday would work. How late, Julie?
I won't be back. It'll have to be like an early evening meeting though, and that would have to be Thursdays. I don't get done teaching until I think 3:30 on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So, and I start early. So, it would have to be like an early evening meeting on a Thursday. And it couldn't be the second Thursday of the month because of planning stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
Well,
You know,
I'm interested, what are Peter and
morning.
Jennifer's schedules like?
I was gonna say, for me, I think I can do, sorry, and I have terrible Wi-Fi right now, so my camera is turned off. So I think for me, Tuesdays and Thursdays would be better. And early evening is fine. I would love to see if it would be anywhere between maybe like 5:30.
Mhm.
Yeah, that, if it's going to be in the evening, I like it to be early evening. How about you, Peter?
Sorry, I got kicked off. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes, yes. Do you know
Okay,
what?
great.
what-
I can be pretty flexible. This lunch hour time works pretty well for me, but this is a really important project and I will make time for it. I don't have a teaching schedule. I think the only times that probably don't work for me is around the 3 to 4 period where I'll be picking up my kids from school.
Right. So,
Okay,
could we do 5 on a Thursday?
I think it had better be a
Yeah.
Thursday because Tuesdays are going to conflict with office hours. So,
Well, and county council meetings.
oh God, yes,
Yeah,
I guess
yeah.
that is a problem, isn't it?
Yeah, and it can't, and so how often are we planning on meeting? Every 2 weeks?
I think for now, and hopefully, we'll be able to discuss some of the applications in another 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think that actually works. And yeah, Thursdays around 5:30 also works too. So
Okay, great. Thank you all for your flexibility. I can't change my teaching schedule, and we can look at it again after May. We can look at it in June and make a decision to switch the times around again if you want. So I do appreciate everyone's flexibility. So the best would be, given that I can't do the second Thursdays because of other meetings, the best would be the first and third Thursday. Would that work for everyone? Which would mean we're meeting sooner. We're meeting next week then.
Yeah, well,
That's fine.
yeah, as long as we've gotten some of the applications by then, I think that's fine.
That'd be good.
And if not, we can kind of skip it, I guess, and wait until, although no, it'd be good to meet next week. I can ask Jeff to notice the meetings. And I guess I'll just have him do it through May. Or is it until May?
It's through May. I would say
Okay.
through May because it's like the third week of May when classes end at Franklin's.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
If
Thanks,
it's
Angie.
possible to send a calendar invitation for this meeting, I think that might be
yes.
Yes.
a hold up
Angie's
on.
very good about
Definitely.
that.
Yeah, Angie, if you wouldn't mind, it would be very helpful to all of us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. Definitely.
Just want to make sure who all needs to get it.
Okay.
So it would be Jennifer, Peter, Julie, Lee, Kate, Anybody
I think
else?
Penny can get it also just because she's been,
Definitely. Yeah.
being
Do you
a
want to just give it to
active
all
thinker.
council, or do you think that you wouldn't want it?
Mm,
It'll be on our
no,
calendar. It'll be on the county calendar, so.
Yeah,
Mhm.
don't send it to all council. I think that it's our communication systems don't really allow for me to then start calling everybody saying, no, don't, this is why. So,
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Gotcha.
Right.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And then the next question I have is, when we conduct interviews, that would be considered an executive session, even though we're a working group. So, we might want to think about how we want to schedule those and how we want to, before we get together next time, just to think about how we could get through an interview process and who wants to be involved and how we do it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
it's important.
I think
would-
this is a small enough group so we could all be involved if everyone wants to.
Mhm.
Yeah, I would recommend that everyone be involved. And then I also think, much like the Heading Home project that United Way and Foundation did, they did a lot of, their meetings with Zoom, and then whittled it down to where I think the last one or two were in person.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
Mhm.
it might be an option for you guys.
So to answer the question from TSD, the next meeting would be Thursday, February 3rd at 5 p.m.
Okay. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
And also, since we have a new council member joining us, the materials that have led us to this point are all in Dropbox. Is that correct?
It wasn't really an RFP. What was it called?
It was like a position description.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think,
I can send that to Jennifer for her to have, as well as copies of both of the reports.
Yes, that's
Actually-
what I was going to say. That's even more important.
Yeah.
Thank you. There's a
Yeah,
lot of late
problem.
night studying that I do now.
Oh, yeah. You're going to.
Yeah,
And
and
listen-
I actually spoke with, I've been in contact with Wendy and TSD, because I was looking at our website and couldn't find what I was looking for these reports. So I'm hoping to get that straightened out. And that both
I had the same
reports-
experience.
Yeah, it was just like, this weekend, I'm like, what in the world? They were there then. Anyway.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I think they
yeah.
were there because a number of people have told me they accessed them from
Yeah.
there.
So
But they are in Dropbox.
I'm wondering if we should think about doing a separate sort of web page for the criminal justice group.
That's what I've asked for.
Yeah. Oh,
Great.
well, then you're way ahead of us. Thank you, Angie.
Right.
No problem.
I'm catching up to you.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're fine. I've actually asked that, under our main title, it's the Board of Commissioners, and right now we have the ADA link. I'm asking that they put a criminal justice response link, and then
Good.
we'll have both of those reports on there with
Great.
buttons, and then also a link to this committee,
Perfect.
because it does have its own page too. So that's the
Okay.
plan.
Great. Thank you, Angie.
No problem.
Will we be documenting minutes or for this
I
meeting?
think we have to.
Right. That's sort of where I was headed, and I don't know what qualifies.
Yeah. And then should we be approving minutes?
Well, I think that my recommendation at this point in time, since I seem to be the staff member on this, and I really don't want to take that on.
We don't want you to be doing the minutes for this.
Thank you. But these are recorded.
Summary minutes are fine, I think, and they could just be a couple sentences about what we covered. It's like the minutes we do for an executive session, but it just basically says, here's what we covered. here's when we met, and then people can then go from that and find the Zoom link in Kat's archive.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that since these are recorded, I can have Anita kind of go back and hit the high points of these so that we have that, and then we'll have that on that page also, so people
Okay.
can find it with a link to the recording.
great.
Great,
That sounds good to me.
That would be.
thank
yeah,
you.
No problem.
Yeah, they don't need to be detailed, I think, because we're still,
Yeah,
just, we're still
Trying-
exploring so much.
yeah, trying to get
Yeah.
our feet under us, kind of.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm gonna disappear again.
okay.
You can disappear.
Yeah,
Now, do we have to have an agenda?
well, that's what I'm hoping that this person we're going to hire will take care of.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, sure. So we're okay with that one for now, is what we're.
Correct.
Well,
okay.
since we aren't really dealing with much of anything right now but hiring this person, it doesn't really seem like
Okay.
it's necessary. But I think in the future, we would want that on the website and all.
Mhm.
So I was asked recently what the purpose of this group is. And the person was looking for kind of a formal charge of the Criminal Justice Response Committee. I said, well, to shepherd the reports from words to action. But I don't know, is there anything written down that I could have shared and been more articulate about?
Well, when we started out, what we were kind of talking about was the intercepts that are mentioned in the Eve Hills report.
Right,
And, working on those, and in particular, the 0 intercepts and the number 4. The ones in between are more court-oriented.
mhm.
And I think that would point someone in the direction of where we're trying to get to
Yeah.
right now.
Sure,
yeah, it's, there's the civil side, civil and facility side, which is what our charge is. And then there's the judicial criminal side, which is what the courts are working on, and they're having their meetings, right? The
Yeah.
court, prosecutor, and public defender, they're having their meetings. And at some point, we're going to come together, right? Because there is overlap.
And if
So-
someone, oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
If someone does ask, I think I would point out that the courts are
Perfect.
working separately.
Mhm.
yes. And I described it. It just seemed like, gosh, I don't have the sentence.
Yeah,
It is there.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Okay.
that looks good.
yep, very nice. That'll be
Thanks,
great.
Angie.
No problem.
Yeah, no kidding. Thank you. That's perfect.
Problem at all.
Yeah, I think Lee's right, though. It's important to note that we're not working alone, that the courts and the justice side are having their own discussions about their points, but we are going to come together at some juncture. I don't know when that is, but probably this year. I'm
Well,
hoping.
I would hope that there would be some mechanism for regular updates across the two.
Yeah, we talked to Mary Ellen about that, and she completely agreed, but didn't exactly commit to anything. I wonder if we should ask her if she could come to this meeting for 10, 15 minutes, maybe every other time.
So once a month.
Yeah. And
I think that sounds like a good
Update us.
idea.
I also like that idea because I think aside from the intercepts in the study, we're going to be stuck with thinking about a new jail real soon, and probably, and I think that's something we definitely want to be involved with, but
Right.
Mary Ellen will also want to be, so
Yeah, I think that's the topic that really
is,
overlaps. I mean, all of it does, but we really need
does.
to coordinate on that.
and a lot, I mean, basically what we're working on is trying to keep people out of the system. And especially when it comes to recidivism, it's going to be very hard to do that without a new jail because we just don't have any room for programming or any of the things that people should be getting.
Mhm.
So I think I kind of hope to whittle down the number of people in the jail and then think about a new jail, but it looks like that's going to be pretty hard to do. So.
Cool link, Angie. Thank you. I meant to type in what does that acronym mean when you first brought it up.
No problem. It's really cool because you can actually have your facility accredited. And that's why I don't know if they do it. I just had a brief overview of it this morning. And I don't know how I came down this rabbit hole. However, they have worked with another entity and it showed them beginning in 2018 and then having accreditation by 2021.
Oh, wow.
And they also put into place the processes to make sure that you are still on track with doing what you're supposed to be doing, so that you can catch yourself if you're making mistakes or reverting back to prior behaviors, which is a natural kind of thing for people to do. So I thought it was kind of interesting, and so there you go. They did an RFP to look at the medical personnel that were being used by the facility, that whatever local jail facility, because you want to have those people also accredited and certified. So it's really quite interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know how I got here. It was from that PDF I sent you guys. That's the rabbit hole. Thank you. I was like, how did I get here?
Okay, well, thank you. Yeah, this looks very interesting. Okay, does anyone have anything else? Peter, you're looking cold.
It is so bitterly cold outside.
Yes.
It is quite something. But
I haven't
that
left.
website looks good. And I also would just want to say, you know, the term jail might not be what we end up building. A lot of what the county council has been funding recently has been social workers and nurses. It seems to be very focused on health, seems to be focused on trauma and less on incarceration and, you know, punishment and things like that. So that's something I'm interested in continuing to talk about.
Absolutely.
I think that would be, you know, is definitely the way that we've been thinking. And I'll try to remember to send you, Margie sent me a couple links that were pretty interesting about a jail, I think it was a jail and a prison in Norway and how they handled them. Now, you're going to find that Mary Ellen is not going to agree to no jail. But it might well be called something different that has a much more palatable sound to it.
There's a book called Incarceration Nation that covers that Norwegian system pretty intensively. It's a good book.
Yeah.
It is an excellent. The one thing I want to caution for you and anybody who's watching is the laws in our country are different than the laws in another country. And so we have to take that into consideration. The other thing is you're not going to get away from having to put some people in a facility for
in custodial hold.
Yeah, we're not going to get away from that. So, but please make a time to look at that PDF I sent you guys. It was January 5th. And it's about a facility in Arizona, and it has some really cool concepts that I think that Peter, you will specifically, well, actually all of you guys, but it just kind of meets exactly what you were talking about there. So
Sure.
have a good day.
Did you send that PDF to Jen and Peter?
I think probably not Jennifer, and maybe I didn't send it to Peter. I will just send it to the group again. How about that?
That
And
might be
actually,
the easiest thing to do.
yeah, I'll do that. And actually, I think I'll just send it to the entire council because everybody needs to be getting their head around some things.
That would be
Maybe
great.
worthwhile to post it on that as a document.
That'd even be easier.
Yeah,
On what?
Put it on our website as a document.
Yeah, sure. It might
Just
be cool to
research.
have like a resources section,
Mhm.
uh-huh,
you know,
yeah.
that would be great.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that's what we're doing. It just means
Right.
this is the kinds of
It's what
things
we're reading.
What
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
looking at, yeah.
Yeah, today's read.
You know, maybe that's the other thing to put on there. If you have other suggestions, email,
Exactly.
whatever, and we can look at them.
Mhm.
Yeah, certainly we
Community
want
is
as much
helpful.
community input as we can possibly get, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay.
Another resource, thank you.
Okay.
We all have a lot
That-
of reading to do, Jennifer. It's not just you.
Yeah, oh yeah, the reading is
better.
never ending.
Yeah.
Good thing I like to do that.
Oh, and did you see what TSD
You
put
like
in our?
reading?
Yeah,
That's
that's
what
cool,
I
isn't
just
it?
said.
Yeah.
Thank you, TSD.
Yeah, thank you guys very much for that. So,
We'll add that in. Add it in.
yeah.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
Well,
Okay.
friends, I need to hop off to my next meeting.
sure. Okay,
So we're
thank you,
meeting next
everyone.
week. So we're
Next
meeting next
Yep.
week.
Yes.
He is going to send those, she said tomorrow, even
Yeah.
she's going to get those things posted, get it on Dropbox.
Yeah, we'll have to figure out the Dropbox because we don't have a Dropbox that's just you guys. Or like this group, I have commissioners and then Kim has the council.
Right.
So we can maybe just
Yeah.
get to Kim and
Get
give
it
it
two Dropboxes, that'd be fine. Yeah.
just
Okay.
Ian.
Thank you.
Okay, if there's nothing else, I think we can be adjourned.
Thanks,
Thanks,
everyone.
Thank
Take
you.
care, everybody.
See you
Great.
next
Bye-bye.
week. Bye.